Yes, hello again. Welcome. I believe that now you've downloaded Blender, and at the time of this recording, I'm using Blender 4.52 LTS. Okay, but this seemingly so similar to even Blender 4.5. There's just a few differences here and there in terms of performance, but generally, Blender since 2 point around 8, this is how usually Blender looks. So once you open Blender, this box that you see here is called the splash screen. Okay, from the splash screen, you can continue with any projects that you are doing. You can start new Blender projects. For example, we have a general project, we have 2D projects, we have sculpting, we have VFX, we have video editing, right? So from this box, you can proceed from where you finished, or you can create a totally new project. Okay, but we are not going to use this project for this splash screen for now. All you need to do is click outside the splash screen. Okay, um, this is what we now call the Blender interface. Okay, the interface is just what you can see. Okay, this is where all the creation happens, and these other ones are different editors. Okay, so all these editors work together. Um, they work together to get maybe an animation or anything that you are doing, anything that you can see on the viewport. All these editors work together to make that happen. Okay, uh, they um, they are all called editors, and they have completely different functions. Okay, for example, the first one, this huge one, is called the viewport, right? So this is the viewport. This is where now you can visualize what is happening. For example, you're doing an animation. This is where to see all the magic happen. Okay, and when you come to the right, to the left hand side, to your left hand side, you can hover around this corner and you'll see that there's an editor type. Okay, there's a name to all these editors. For example, this is called the 3D viewport. Okay, this one is called the outliner. All right, you can just move around with your mouse and you'll see the name. This is called the outliner. So the outliner uh, arranges everything in your scene. Okay, now you can see everything inside the scene in the outliner. Okay, for example, this is the light. If I click the light, it will be highlighted on the outliner. If I click the cube, it will be highlighted on the outliner. If I click even through the outliner, I can select the camera. Okay, so this is what we call the outliner. For example, we have, let's say we duplicate this cube. Okay, now you'll see we have two cubes, the first one and the second one. Okay, don't worry about how we duplicated the cube. We'll learn about that. The next editor is called the properties editor. Okay, this is the properties editor. The property editor gives you um, it has a lot of functions. Okay, for example, if you want to render your scene, you want to set the quality. Let's say you want to add modifiers. Let's say you want to create materials. Most of these things will happen in the properties editor. Okay, but we can always create other editors or change editors from what we already have. Okay, for example, we want to switch this. For example, we want to switch our viewport to another editor. We'll just head here, click this drop down, then switch it to whichever editor that we want. For example, we can switch it to graph editor. Now, our viewport has switched to graph editor, and we can always get back to the editor that we were using. So we'll switch it back to 3D viewport, okay? Because this is what we want. Another thing that we can do is we can always subdivide our editors, okay? This by subdividing, let's say we just want to partition, this one, we can partition it. Now we have two viewports, okay? One, maybe you want to see the front view, and the other one you want to see another kind of view. But let's say we can switch now the duplicated editor, the subdivided one. We can switch to any other editor that we want. For example, edit node editor, shader editor. And now this other side you have the shader editor. With this drop down, you can see that now you can switch it to whichever editor that you want, okay? And now when you want to close it, you head to any corner till you see this plus sign, then you click on it, then drag it to the direction that you want to close, okay? So how to partition it? Head to the corner, click, then pull it outwards. Then to close it, click the corner, then um, push it inwards. Okay, so at the lower bottom here, we have the timeline. So this is what we call the timeline. The timeline is responsible for you to visualize the frames, okay? The frames that you are going to, let's say, playing an animation or animating, all right? For example, if I hit play, I can see what will be playing if I have an animation. Okay, yes. So as far as the layout is concerned, that is the basic layout, right? For example, there's other buttons here, layout, then there's modeling if you want to model, but you don't have to use all these buttons, okay? You can always switch from um, this layout to modeling by just entering edit mode, okay? So as far as layout is concerned, that is all. Okay, see you in the next video.